AI tools handled the mechanics of text with extreme efficiency. They summarize contracts in seconds, compare conflicting clauses, and move information through an organization faster than humanly possible. Yet, a specific breakdown occurs when these tools move from a sandbox pilot into official production across a multi-jurisdictional corporate group. They stall. This stall happens because of a mismatch in function. Models that excel at drafting are being used to perform tasks like judging compliance, enforceability, and risk that require institutional judgment the machine does not possess. Corporate entities function through rigid authority maps. When an AI produces a fluent suggestion without a defined human owner, the existing system has nowhere to record it. The process rejects the new capability because it cannot reconcile a machine-generated output with a legally binding decision. When an organization fails to formally integrate AI, the capability migrates underground. Staff members continue to use the tools unofficially because they are useful, creating what we call the shadow mechanism. This diagnostic outlines the predictable symptoms of shadow activity. Pilot programs stay in experiment mode indefinitely to avoid an authority decision. Committees draft vague guidance while the authority map remains unchanged. And teams rely on AI recommendations while publicly claiming human judgment. Because this work happens in the shadows, machine outputs begin drifting into final corporate conclusions without an official human owner claiming responsibility for the result. For a board, this represents a critical vulnerability. A company only acts legally through defined decisions, statutory records, and official registry filings. If the board cannot identify who approved a decision or trace how AI assisted it, the organization faces significant legal and governance exposure. The threat shifts from a technical glitch to a failure of corporate form. Solving this exposure requires more than drafting a high-level acceptable use policy or relying on a vendor's safety metrics. The solution is to establish what is known as the rule of form. As this research states, without form, AI enters institutions informally, and authority becomes difficult to locate. Outside the boardroom, the position is often seen as a manual administrator of filings and statutory registers. But their actual expertise lies in board rhythm, the delegation of authority, and the preservation of corporate memory. This makes them the organization's natural governance architect. The governance architect translates a theoretical AI strategy into a legally defensible corporate structure. A director resignation ripples across dozens of jurisdictions, touching local filings, banking mandates, and shareholder notifications. The governance architect embeds AI assistance directly into these procedural steps, ensuring every machine-generated draft routes into a specific human approval checkpoint. These workflows generate mandatory audit trails. The system identifies sources used, assumptions made, who reviewed the draft, and who approved the final version. The architect also builds hard-coded triggers for high-risk scenarios. If a matter involves a conflict of interest, regulated approvals, or insolvency, the system flags it for immediate human intervention. These concrete design rules ensure that no AI model sits above the organizational architecture. By making every decision reviewable, the architect prevents silent AI authority from shaping board materials. Mapping the technology to these rigid workflows transforms a hidden liability into a fully auditable corporate asset. In this environment, the boardroom operates with total clarity. The shadow mechanism is eliminated, and AI assistance is brought into the light. The board maintains unobstructed visibility over how decisions are prepared. They know which reports are machine-assisted and where human verification was required. This level of detail is vital for the future. Months or years after a decision is recorded, auditors, regulators, or litigants will scrutinize those minutes and statutory records. The governance architect ensures that every AI-assisted action is capable of full historical reconstruction and legal defense. A company's corporate memory is only as valuable as its ability to withstand that hostile scrutiny. The ultimate legal boundary remains unchanged. Artificial intelligence cannot own the final judgment behind a binding corporate decision. Safely integrating AI across a corporate group begins by appointing the right professional to build the architecture of accountability. This ensures that the technology remains what it was intended to be, a controlled and useful extension of responsible human judgment.